Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. My name is James, and here at 20th and 21st Movies, we are about all things cinema. Well, today I wanted to take a few minutes to share with you my thoughts on a recent release from A24 Films on 4K Ultra HD. This film did very well in the theaters for an A24 title, and it's a film that I didn't get a chance to watch in the theaters, as is the case with a lot of movies these days. But it's a film that I've been very excited to see, and I'm very glad that I finally picked up Everything Everywhere All at Once on 4K Ultra HD. It just came out, and I am very happy to be holding this in my hands. This is the 2022 film. It's a brand new film, just recently completed production, went through the theaters, did very well, and it's now out on this fresh, sparkling new 4K Ultra HD disc for our enjoyment. This is a film from Daniels. It says that at the very top, a film from Daniels, which looks kind of strange. Like, what does that mean? And basically it means that you have two co-directors, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. So they're the two Daniels, and that's why it says a film from Daniels. And it's a film that stars Michelle Yeoh in the lead role of Evelyn Wong. She is an aging immigrant, and she and her husband own a struggling laundromat business, and they're trying to get their financial affairs in order. Of course, you may know Michelle Yeoh from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, from Tomorrow Never Dies, from Crazy Rich Asians, and other movies. So she stars in this film as Evelyn Wong. Her daughter is played by Stephanie Su, and she plays Joy Wang, her daughter. You also have an actor, and I'm gonna mispronounce his name, Ke Huy Quan, who is in here. This is an actor that had been in retirement for a number of years, but you might remember him playing in the Indiana Jones films as Short Round. So he stars in this film. He plays Wayman Wong, the husband of Evelyn. You also have James Hong, who played Gong Gong. James Hong plays the father of Evelyn Wong, or the grandfather in this film. And then the other major role in this film is played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Deirdre, the IRS agent. And I absolutely love Jamie Lee Curtis in this role in this film. But this film is a multiverse extravaganza adventure, and it stars Michelle Wong as this immigrant who, she and her husband have this laundromat business. They go to the IRS agent's office to straighten out their tax affairs, and from there launches this crazy, insane adventure where she is reached out to from someone from the parallel universes as being the only hope to save the multiverse. And so as a result, she gets these powers. She's able to tap into different possibilities in different universes and alternate realities. It is just a crazy assembly of special effects, showing different possibilities and timelines and multiverses. And it is definitely a multiverse extravaganza that is a sensory overload. I mean, there is so much flying at you in this movie that I will say that as I was watching this film, I had to think to myself, wow, how do I feel about this movie? It seems like there's a lot going on here, and it's still processing in my mind about how I feel about this film. But I will tell you that overall, I like this movie quite a bit. I must say I do. I really do like this movie in the sense that you have all this multiverse action going on, right? All these crazy special effects. I think the pacing of it is probably a bit frenetic. It might be frenetic for some people, but because there's a lot going on here. But the thing that I really do appreciate about this is I think they do a nice job with all that craziness of basing it upon a family story. So you have Evelyn and Wayman, who are married, but they're having problems. Divorce is being contemplated. So they're going through that whole struggle of, where's our relationship going to go? And really just as you look at the multiverse side of things, considering the possibilities of what could have been. So one of the things that you see in this film is what would have happened had they not gotten together, and considering would that have been a better life for me or you if we had never been together, if we had never had joy, if we had just went down different paths, would our lives be better? So I found that to be very interesting. But then a big part of this film is the relationship between Evelyn Wong and her daughter Joy Wong, who plays a very important part in the way that the multiverse is using her to wreak havoc through the different universes or multiverses. And just the relationship between mother and daughter, and some of the coming of age things going on with Joy, and how she's trying to find herself and as she's growing up, and that struggle that is so common between young adults and parents, trying to understand one another, trying to navigate these different stages of relationship together as kids grow up. Some of what I'm dealing with in my own life. But anyway, you do see that in this film. And so I can kind of relate to some of that, and I think it's just different kinds of issues, but it's really just the whole parent-child dynamic of learning how to do this thing called parenting, learning how to relate to our children and help them best discover themselves without being too intrusive and without crushing their dreams or their spirit. So I really enjoyed this film from the standpoint of the relationships and the dynamics that it presents, in terms of Evelyn's job is not to just save the universe, but it's to save her family, to save her marriage, to save her relationship with her daughter. And so you see that in the midst of all this, mad craziness going on the screen, it's all for a purpose that I think is absolutely fascinating. So I would say that this is a film, whether or not I recommend this film is really going to depend on if you're into this type of a crazy, frenetic adventure. It's not going to be for everybody, but I will say that I really enjoyed this film. It does go at a fairly frenetic pace. Once it gets going with the whole multiverse stuff and how Evelyn's figuring out what the heck is going on. So it goes at some points pretty quickly with some breaks, but I really enjoyed this film, and I really look forward to revisiting this film because there's a lot that I probably miss on a first viewing that I want to go back and just sort of, just pick up some of those details along the way. But very fascinating film that I would recommend if you are up for this type of a wild and crazy multiverse ride. Now, I've heard that this film is better than the Doctor Strange film, the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I have not seen that movie. If you have seen that movie, let me know in the comments section. If you've seen that and Everything Everywhere All at Once, let me know which one you think is the best multiverse film. But for my money, I really enjoyed Everything Everywhere All at Once as a movie. Let's talk for a second about this in terms of the 4K Ultra HD disc, in terms of the video and the audio quality. So what you get on this 4K Ultra HD disc is you get Dolby Vision. So it's in 4K, graded in Dolby Vision, and you also get, from an audio standpoint, a Dolby Atmos track, which is great. So when you see Dolby Vision and Atmos on here, and this is a 4K disc, that is absolutely great to see. And when you actually watch this film, I really appreciated the picture that I got from this film on my TV. It looks great. So honestly, without getting into a whole lot of technical mumbo jumbo with it, I will just tell you that this picture looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, this Dolby Vision grading, nice colors, nice, beautiful detail all throughout. When you look at the laundromat, the IRS office, the outside scenes, the interior scenes, everything just looks beautifully detailed. There's a lot of stuff going on the screen, and you get all that wonderful detail and depth and clarity, everything that you would expect from a film that's been shot digitally within the last year. It's a brand new film, so it's expected that it would look super nice and super clean, and it does. This is a beautiful 4K presentation in HDR of Everything All at Once from A24 Films. So have nothing but great things to say about the video quality. As far as the audio, I don't have an Atmos setup. I have a 7.1 with my Onkyo receiver and my 7.1 audio system. So, you know, I get Dolby True HD when I'm playing it, and it sounds wonderful. I mean, there's so much going on the screen. There's so much activity in the soundscape, and it definitely takes advantage of all those channels and just sounds wonderful. I can only imagine how much better of an experience it would be if you had that Atmos, setup. So if you have a Dolby Atmos setup, a 4K TV that can do HDR and Dolby Vision, and a nice 4K Blu-ray player, you are gonna get a great presentation of this film with this disc, guaranteed. So highly, highly recommend Everything All at Once, Everything Everywhere All at Once, from a technical standpoint. Now, as far as the special features, you do get a few features on here. You get an audio commentary from the directors. You get a making of, which is called an Everything About Everything Everywhere All at Once feature. So, or almost everything you ever wanted to know about Everything Everywhere All at Once featurette. Putting everything on a bagel, cooking up the multiverse featurette, and you get deleted scenes. So you get a few features on here. You get to hear from Michelle Yeoh and Stephanie Su, and the gentleman actor who played her husband, Wayne Wong, who played Short Round, Ke Huy Quan. So you get to hear from him as well, and also James Hong, who plays the grandfather. So you hear from all of them. You also hear from the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I found that to be very insightful because they share their approach to making this film and how they came up with the idea for this film. Michelle Yeoh talks about how when she was first presented with the script, what her reaction to it was. But when the Daniels talk about how they came up with this story and this idea, so the way that Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert explain the way they came up with this wild and zany story is they would just take all these ideas and throw them at the wall, throw every idea at the wall, and then just boil it down from there. So they would throw a ton of different crazy out there ideas about this whole multiverse thing, and then they would kind of boil it down to what could be digestible and what could be presented in the most cinematic way that served the story. So I found that to be very interesting, the way they described it and the way they balanced the whole element of this multiverse with this family story and bringing it together in a way that I ultimately found to be quite satisfying. Now, again, like I said, I need to revisit this film and fully digest everything that's going on in it, but I really enjoyed this film. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed Michelle Yeoh. I think she did a really nice job in her role. I really enjoyed the husband role by Wayne Wong. I enjoyed Stephanie Su. Of course, another character I didn't mention here is played by Tally Meadows. She played Becky in this film, so she played a very important role in this film. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed Everything Everywhere All at Once. I will tell you again, I don't think this is a film for everybody, but it's a film that I definitely enjoyed. And if you are up for this type of a zany multiverse type of an adventure, if the images that you're seeing on this screen in any way interest you, I highly recommend checking out this film. If you look at all of this on the screen here and you think, oh, that may be a little bit too much for me, you might want to rent this film first before you consider a purchase. So that might be an avenue you might want to go down. But overall, I recommend it to anyone who is interested in this type of a film. So those are my thoughts on Everything Everywhere All at Once, the new 4K Ultra HD presentation. Again, the presentation's a knockout. I mean, the 4K picture, the Dolby Atmos, the Dolby Vision, from an AV standpoint, absolute knockout. This is a 4K disc you will enjoy having in your library. Absolutely. So highly recommend it from a technical standpoint, and I'm just glad I picked it up. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this film. Let me know what you think about other multiverse type films like Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, and any other films that have these crazy types of concepts going on. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time at the movies. Peace.